Hello and welcome to the Show Day podcast. Today is July 31st, 2019. After two competitions last night, Coors are traveling into the Northeast for a weekend of incredible shows. Last night we had shows in Salem, Virginia and Annapolis, Maryland. Tonight, world-class Coors are in one event in Chester, Pennsylvania. And open class scorers are in a show in Farmington, Minnesota. So I'll get to a recap of last night and also take a look ahead to tonight. Today's podcast is audio only. Two shows last night, first of those being the Summer Music Games of Southwest Virginia in Salem, Virginia. Looking at the recap for the show, we had 6 Coors perform. 8 were scheduled. Weather kind of did put this event in a little bit of jeopardy. They did delay the show, but 2 Coors did pull out, Genesis and the Academy being those Coors, which really could have happened for a variety of factors, either performer safety or transportation things, really just logistical things as well that could have held those 2 Coors back from performing. But nonetheless, even though those 2 Coors did not perform, the other 6 did. We saw Carolina Crown, the Blue Knights, Blue Stars, Crossmen, Pacific Crest, and the Madison Scouts. Looking at the recap, in general effect first, we've got Crown obviously ahead. Really, they win everything at the show. Blue Knights, Blue Stars do pull a little, kind of close to them, but not anywhere where Crown is in a bad place, I guess you could say. Just kind of maintaining what we've been seeing throughout the season. So, as I said, general effect, Crown wins that. Blue Knights in second to 35 even. Blue Stars in third. Crossmen in fourth. Crossmen and Blue Star, or Blue Knights, that is. Those two, when you look at them, you've got the Crossmen 2 points back from the Blue Knights. That is really an area where I think the Crossmen need to look at the show design when they're designing next year's show and say, okay, let's make sure we have these, that we get these general effect points, because there are good things on the recap. The visual caption, very strong for the Crossmen this season. Some parts of the music caption, depending on the night, can be good. This general effect number, it doesn't change throughout the season. You kind of get an established margin, and if the Crossmen could just maybe improve upon that next year, if they can keep everything else kind of the same, I think that they will and would be in a good place. After the Crossmen in general effect, you've got Pacific Crest and then the Madison Scouts. Moving over to the visual caption, in visual proficiency, Carolina Crown in first in 18.5. Second place to the Blue Stars at a 17.5. Third place there, the Crossmen. This is one of their strong areas, only a half of a point behind the Blue Stars, but they are ahead of the Blue Knights there, only by a tenth, but still that is a fact. They are ahead. Pacific Crest fifth there, and Madison Scouts in sixth. Visual analysis, Carolina Crown in an 18-2, Blue Knights in an 18 even, so very tight there at the top in that sub-caption, just 2 tenths separating Crown and the Blue Knights. Third place in visual analysis, you've got the Blue Stars at a 17.6, Crossmen in 17.1, Pacific Crest in fifth there, and the Madison Scouts in sixth. Then finally in color guard, this does get kind of incredibly interesting here. We see Crown at an 18 even in color guard. Sure, high score, maybe not, it's about a point off of where we've been seeing Boston score at the top, so not like color guard champion quality or in those scores, but still the fact that they have a good number there. After them, you've got the Blue Stars in second, and this is where the interesting stuff is. The 17.9 for them. As I said, Crown's number 18 even, so just a tenth separating those two. Last time we saw that was Muncie at the end of June, and that's kind of when everybody said, are the Blue Stars good there? Is Crown bad? What's kind of going on? And I think as the season's gone on, Crown's, it's not been a complete struggle for them, still placing top 6 there. But the Blue Stars also are doing very well there. They've placed as high as fifth at San Antonio in the color guard subcaption. So just something kind of to watch as finals week looms within the next week. A week from today, we I say as in like the drum corps community will be um, in Indianapolis, getting ready for championships in the coming days. So, just one of those things to keep in mind is this color guard situation with some of these corps, especially in this situation, Crown and the Blue Stars. After those two at this show, we see the Crossmen in third and the Blue Knights in fourth, Pacific Crest in fifth, Madison in sixth. Overall visual scores, you've got Crown in first, Blue Stars in second, Blue Knights in third, Crossmen in fourth, Pacific Crest in fifth, and the Madison Scouts in sixth. Just watching that Blue Knights Blue Stars battle, another thing we're watching for the remainder of the season. Last night, 4/10 separated those two in general effect. When we look at visual, you've got more than half a point separating those two. You've got the Blue Stars at 26-5, Blue Knights a 25-8-5. So after those two captions, Blue Stars hold the upper hand over the Blue Knights. When we move over to the music caption, first up, brass. We've got Crown, high score, 18.9. I'm sure they'd like to be in the 19s there, but that 18.9 is still good enough for where they are right now. Second place there, Blue Knights is 17-7, Blue Stars in third, Crossman fourth, Pacific Crest fifth, Madison Scouts sixth. Music analysis, just watching that Blue Knights Blue Stars battle, you've got Blue Knights up 2/10 there, and then in the percussion caption, Crown at the top in 18-9, and then a big gap between the Blue Knights and Blue Stars, which I think is mainly just a bad run. At least that's what I would see from the Blue Stars last night. A 1.2 point gap between those two corps. Blue Stars actually falling to fourth in percussion. The Crossmen passing them. I'm gonna give a little bit of a shout out to Crossman Percussion though right now. At the early stages of the season, everybody was kind of like the Crossmen could miss finals because of this percussion score that they're getting. And now as the season's gone on, really they've kind of made the most of that, and they're actually getting like top 10 scores there. So Crossing and percussion, it looked disastrous, but it's really not as we're seeing it right now. At the bottom of the percussion caption at this show, we saw the Madison Scouts in fifth and Pacific Crest in sixth. We've seen Madison also do well in percussion this year. I would expect them, if they do make staff changes, they should and probably will not touch that percussion caption because they've been overachieving on the overall success of the corps this season. Back to this recap then, the music scores, you've got Crown in first at a 28.35. Keep in mind that's out of 30, so pretty high score for Crown. I'm not going to be surprised to see them walk out of finals with a music championship, even though that's not an award that's awarded still first place there. I would not be surprised to see them get that. Blue Knights in second, Blue Stars in third, Crossman fourth, Pacific Crest fifth, Madison in sixth. Overall scores, you've got Crown in first at a 92.5, good score for them. Obviously, to be in championship contention, you need to be at 93, 94. Crown's not in that, and nobody's going to say they are. So, but still keeping in that range of 4 through 6, definitely right now. We see the Blue Knights in second at this show at an 87.75. They top the Blue Stars, of course, largely due to the music. The music caption where the Blue Stars trail by 8/10. 5.5 tenths back are the Blue Stars in the on the overall score sheet. So 87.75 for Blue Knights, 87.2 for the Blue Stars. Fourth place to the Crossmen and 84.45. They'd obviously like to be up with where the Blue Knights and Blue Stars are right now, but really just not getting up there. And Crossmen will make finals, whether they finish 11th or 12th or 10th maybe, I don't know, is still up in the air, but I don't see them falling out of finals to, let's say, Spirit or someone else by the end of the season. Pacific Crest, they crossed 80 earlier this week. They haven't got back to that. They're now at a 79.35 after this show last night, and the Madison Scouts in 6th at a 77.2 after the Salem event last night. Second show last night was Drum Corps American Tradition in Annapolis, Maryland. I was at this event, 7 corps there, 1 open class, 6 world class. I'm not going to dive too much into the recap because I really want to talk about what I kind of thought of these corps with the opportunity to see them live. So, open class side of things, we saw Encore. They walked away with a 55.35. I've been saying this every time they perform this season. It's not that they are going for that competitive factor this season. Sure, maybe in years to come, maybe that's what they will go for. But I think right now, with what we're looking at for this score, for Encore, is that they're definitely trying to provide this great member experience, fan-friendly performance, and just kind of do all those little things well. And then I think that they are kind of thinking that will guide them into success in the future. I think it's a good setup that they've got going for them right now. When we move over to World Class, I'm going to go through the recap real quick. Cavaliers 1.2 above the Cadets in general effect. Mandarins in 3rd there, 6/10 back of the Cadets. Spirit 1.4 back of the Mandarins. Jersey Surf in 5th, and the Seattle Cascades in 6th. In visual, we saw the Cavaliers walk away in 1st at 27.45. Mandarins closed within a point of the Cavaliers at 26.5. In 2nd place, Cadets fall to 3rd in visual at 26.2. Spirit of Atlanta in 4th at 25.5. Jersey Surf in 5th at 22.2. And Seattle Cascades in 6th at 21.15. In music, we see the Cavaliers in 1st at 27.9. Cadets at 26.6. Mandarins in 3rd at 25.75, Spirit of Atlanta in 4th at 25.6, Jersey Surf in 5th, and the Seattle Cascades in 6th. Just 2 things I want to look at in music real quick. Really, the Cadets doing well in percussion is really keeping them above the Mandarins, and really just the music caption in general is what's keeping them above, and maybe even touching Blue Stars or Blue Knights at this point. Scored about the same as those, or actually higher than those 2 did last night. Of course, 2 different shows, but still something to take into consideration. Kind of just 2 things, just not affecting each other, but kind of going into why the Cadets are ahead in music and why the Mandarins are behind. One, the Cadets are really good, especially in percussion. And the other thing is the Mandarins are not very good in the music caption. So with them being very close to Spirit there, just 0.15 ahead of Spirit, and then also being about a point, a little less behind the Cadets, that's not probably where the Mandarins want to be right now. So just something to take into consideration with those music scores and the Cadets and Mandarins battle that we've been seeing this season. Overall scores last night, we've got the Cavaliers in 1st, a 92.05, Cadets in 2nd, an 88.3, the Mandarins in 3rd, an 87.15, Spirit of Atlanta a bit off of the Mandarins at an 84.6, Jersey Surf in 5th, a 74.2, and the Seattle Cascades in 6th, breaking 70, it is 70.75. Now, kind of just diving into what I thought of these shows right now. Going to kind of go from the bottom up. So, first, the Seattle Cascades. I kind of always, as I'm saying always, up to about 2016, 2017, I always kind of not enjoyed their shows, but kind of enjoyed them and didn't know what they were about, though. Now, in the past few seasons, like last year, this year, really they have kind of that's kind of changed for me. Like I'm enjoying the show still, but I'm getting the concept as well. And yes, maybe the quality of the performance is not at the level of their competition. It's not. Everybody knows that. But still, they are achieving at a good level for where they are right now. Last night, seeing them, good performance from them, seemed like a really good run for the Cascades in Annapolis. Jersey Surf, I've liked what I've seen so far this season. I've said that here, and I've liked what I've seen on video. Really, last night I was a bit, um, I guess you could say a bit, um, shocked that it wasn't kind of what I saw, in these past few times I've seen them on video. And sure, maybe that's a bad run or whatever, and still, even though it's a bad run and it wasn't necessarily what I thought it would be, still a level above where we've seen them performing in past seasons. So even though maybe this was a bad run, or maybe I've been kind of thinking a little bit highly of them. Whatever it is, still Jersey Surf doing well this season. Spirit of Atlanta, that show, they went in this completely new direction. We've really never seen it, and I don't even know what the words are to describe it. I think it's part like contemporary and modern stuff, and the music is kind of in that genre, in those genres as well. And I like what they're doing. Just it's kind of missing something. There's like an engagement factor that the show seems like it needs from the crowd, and there's a lot of engagement. There's a big engagement factor that you have to feel about the show to be able to enjoy it, and I'm sure some people do feel that, but I'm kind of struggling um, to catch on to that. And without that big engagement factor from really the whole audience, the show kind of falls a little flat of where it probably should be. The Mandarins, another core that I wasn't completely surprised pleasantly with. I I've thought a little bit highly of them, I think too, from what I've seen from them, and it's not that's definitely not like a run thing, like a bad run. It seemed much more in the fact of, well, there's been things I've seen from them that maybe I didn't see last night, or a variety of different things. But when we look at what they've done, good visual performance. There's still something missing from it, but a good performance nonetheless from the Mandarins. If you just watch the two featured performers, you'll love the show. And really, what I feel with them is that the ensemble sound, like the show, is just kind of a soundtrack to the action going on by the featured performers, and it's kind of what I thought when I saw the show last night, and it really made the show better in my eyes, but still lacking something there for the Mandarins. The Cadets definitely better than what better than early season. A good run for them last night. Definitely kind of turning around things ever since they kind of lost to the Mandarins a week ago now. They have stepped it up, and are, as the recap shows, now defeating the Mandarins again. And then finally, the Cavaliers, a very good show. I've said this since the beginning that I kind of love what they're doing this season. They've kind of gone in a new direction, and it is, I think, helping them in a really good way. And I'd love to see what they can bring. It's not necessarily like that whole fan friendly thing, but it's definitely a show that is still a crowd pleaser, and that will kind of get the fans a little bit emotional on finals night, both like in like a sad way, I guess, but also in like a passionate way as well. So Annapolis, very good show last night. Good performances and some interesting stuff on the recap. Tonight, Cores head to Chester, Pennsylvania, and Farmington, Minnesota. That show in Chester's Tour of Champions Chester edition, once again hosted by the Cadets. It'll get underway 7:30 with the Welcome and National Anthem. 7:40, Jersey Surf will take the field. 7:57, the Crossmen. 8:14, the Cavaliers. 8:31, there'll be an intermission. 8:51, the Boston Crusaders. That will be followed by Santa Clara Vanguard at the Cadets, then an encore by the Cadets, and scores for them will be announced. What are we looking for here? Vanguard, keep going in that good direction. 94, definitely well within the realm of possibility tonight for them. I'll be at this one, so I'm excited to see them tonight as well as everybody else. The Boston Crusaders and the Cavaliers, that's battle we've kind of been watching. Cavaliers jumped ahead in their last meeting this past Sunday in Winston-Salem. Can they do that again tonight? But that whole intermission thing being in the middle of those two, I think might skew those scores a little bit. But we saw that in Winston-Salem as well, too. So who knows how that battle right there will shake out tonight. And can they continue in an upward direction, maybe getting close to where Crown is by this weekend? Those three cores, Crown, Cavaliers, Boston, all do perform on Saturday night at DCI East, so it'll be interesting to see what they can come out with then and how competition shakes out. Then we've also got the Cadets and Crossmen. I expect there to be a 2 to 3 point gap, or maybe even more between those two. It would definitely be good for the Cadets to have that be more, and obviously be good for the Crossmen to have that less. So those are really the big things. I'm watching tonight in Chester. Definitely thrilled to see those great performances tonight. And then that second show is in Farmington, Minnesota. Is March On is the name of the event. This one's at Farmington High School, at the Farmington High School Stadium in Minnesota. Everything will get underway at 7 o'clock Central Time. Welcome and National Anthem. Then we've got 2 all-age class or sound sport performances by Chops Incorporated and Minnesota Brass. That'll be followed by a full night of open class competition. The Colt Cadets, Louisiana Stars, River City Rhythm, the Spartans Gold, and another all-age class performance by the Governors. Their performance is followed by an encore, and then scores are announced. What are we watching for here? The biggest thing of the night is Gold and the Spartans. Those two, they've not met so far this season, and they've both been, they've both gone undefeated so far. I mean, if you take Blue Devils B and Vanguard Cadets out of the mix and just look at these cores that are going to championships, Gold and Spartans have defeated all of their competition when you look at it in that way. So these two definitely going to be the championship contenders over the next about 5 days now before the cores pull in the championships. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top tonight. And then also looking at Louisiana Stars and River City Rhythm, they've gone back and forth kind of thing this season. So how they'll do tonight obviously is still up in the air. But we'll have to wait and see. If I had to kind of pick what I think will happen, I'm going to say Louisiana Stars will probably stay ahead of River City Rhythm tonight. So thank you for watching the podcast today. Just a few things. Make sure to visit my website, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com, for all the latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours. Scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more can all be found on my own personal website about all things drum corps. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Drum Corps Geek, and subscribe to the Show Day podcast on YouTube, where this podcast and more will be posted. And finally, leave your thoughts in the comment sections, questions, input, comments, etc. It'll all be greatly appreciated. So that's all I got for today. I'll be back again tomorrow. I'll analyze a little bit of the scores once again, and also take a look at what I saw tonight in Chester and what it kind of means for the days ahead and the last week of the regular season. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.